Alright everybody, welcome back. Time to battle. Let's crush some people with Jito. Alright, currently I'm in 18th place, trying to go for another top 20, top 15 Masters finish in a row. First season I finished in 17th place, I think. Last season I finished in 3rd place, and this season I'm trying to go for another top 10 to firmly solidify myself up there in the current top 10 and see how consistently I can perform well in this game. Alright, we found an opponent. Beardress from over at rngeternal.com and commentator of the tournament stream. Let's see what he's currently running. I actually have him on my friends list. He seems to not play so much or not that competitively if he is that low. Given that I think, I'm not sure if this is gold or bronze. Like if it's gold 2, maybe he just doesn't play that much. If it's bronze, he probably barely played at all. Alright, so with so many Jitos, I'm just gonna start with Jito because no matter what's going to happen, we're gonna get to attack with Knife Jack Jito next turn. And he's on some Recano deck. Kind of expect him to not be regular Recano aggro, as he likes to experiment from what I know and try some sweet stuff. So maybe he's some mid-rangey Recano deck or some kind of like Recano Armory or something. Yep, there we go. Seek Power, kind of proving my point. He might even be playing my former Recano mid-range brew that I played with a bunch. Like I ran into him on ladder and he added me when I was playing that deck, and I showed him the deck and he kind of liked it, so maybe it grew on him, but apparently not, because he's running some kind of 3-faction deck. Maybe he's running a version of Unearthly's Chaos Armory, as he called it, or as I would call it, Navani aggro. It's like a Recano based Navani mid-rangey aggro deck with a bunch of weapons and splashing for Champion of Chaos, basically, to have a good powerful 3-drop to curve into. So they can curve like Champion of Glory into Champion of Chaos into Navani, which makes for a really powerful opening from a medium-sized aggressive deck that is more of a mid-range aggro deck rather than a true aggro deck. Let's see what he's actually up to. Yep, Chaos Armory it is. Unfortunately, with our current draw, this champion is kind of annoying, since Suffocate doesn't really help us much, due to him having hit it with Inspire, which is actually pretty good here. But yeah, I think we have to attack anyway. Get 5 damage in. Try to pressure him. And hope we just draw some gas off the top. Since without a torch, a rapid shot, or even a rally, our hand is pretty susceptible to a 3 power 4/4. And his deck is proactive enough, generates enough board and has enough interaction to actually punish people, punish a deck like Jito for not having the right answers. Alright, so just gonna, I think I'm only gonna attack here. If he's blocking with champion, I'll kill it. If he blocks here, I'll let it trade. Because if I attack with everything, all I'm gonna do is like deal 2 damage and he's just gonna eat 1 Jito for free. And now if the champion is gone, I can just hold back the Jitos until I draw a rally or something and keep attacking for 2 with a Knife Jack, while his only unit is a 2/2, and I'm happy to trade with his Crown Watch, so my Jitos can attack again. Okay, that shuts us down. Oh, interesting, he added Argent Board. I mean, Groundwatch is already kind of an addition, but Ardent Port even more so. A lot of 2-drops. Not sure how much I like Groundwatch in that deck, to be honest, because without Quick Draw and without combo tricks and weapons other than most likely relic weapons, I am not too excited about Groundwatch Paladin because it gets stalled so easy. It's just not the best attacker without any additional help. But yeah, this game looks like it's gonna slip away from us. For the mentioned reason, he's just like basically the exact way to beat decks like Jito. He's fairly aggressive, has a fairly low curve, but just slightly higher curve and slightly higher power in individual cards to keep up with our speed, enough to not get run over, and at the same time present a much stronger board presence with the same amount of cards without, yeah, falling behind on tempo. The typical go slightly bigger to beat your opponent, and that's what his deck is doing, so we are done here. Nope, dropped out of top 20. Oh well, we'll get that back easily, no problem. Next opponent. I think I'm gonna redraw this hand just because Stonescar banners make this hand much slower, and I think the deck redraws well enough with the low amount of power and the high redundancy in cards that we should get an overall better hand than having to skip our 1-drop in a deck with a million 1-drops and ways to play them. This is better, it's slightly flooded, but overall it is still a better hand, I think, since the Shadowlands guide should help make up for the slight flood. And it's also not that likely to redraw into 4 power worth of hands in a 25 power deck. It's probably, your redraw power count should probably be around 3 or below 3 even, with a deck like this. Would need to do the math to say that for sure. Just gonna attack with both here, it's fine if he trades, we have Shadowlands guide. He doesn't block at all? Jeez, what is this? Like, I have no idea why he would not block here. That makes no sense. But I'll take it. I guess because he wants to get his Sanguine out, I see. Still. It seems so wrong on so many levels. I think I might just not attack. I think I can attack with Knife Jack. If he trades with the knife, with the Oni, then I'll just get it back with Shadowlands Guide. If he doesn't, I'll just assembly line and pass. There we go. That's the other thing, like in the mirror, Sanguine is not that impressive. Just trades with so much. As in general, that's what I meant, like it's basically has similar survivability of like regular 2-drops. Gonna trade here, and trade here. It's okay, and gonna probably Shadowlands Guide to get back some board. Since, even though you might not think that life total is secondary in a mirror match like this, this matchup is much more so about grinding and trading and card advantage than it is about racing, since there's so many good blockers and there's so much trading going on. Gonna block here. I'm not sure if I want to block like this. I think I'm only gonna block like this and take these, because if he has a rally, I don't want to lose both units. Yep, there's the rally. I think that's a good play in terms of card advantage to keep one of our reliable blockers here. That's nasty. Good that we draw this one. And then we can just Shadowlands guide our Jito back. I wish I had something better to bring back, but we don't, so Jito beats it is. And as you can see, we kind of grinded him down. We are like 11 life behind, but we are ahead on cards. Because we traded well, and we are also ahead on board. Opponent doesn't have a good attack, and we have more resources left than he does. That's pretty good, unfortunately. And yeah, I think it's too bad of a trade to take it, so I'll just take 2, attack back for 3, and leave Jito as a blocker to trade with one of the 1/1s. And hopefully draw into another solid unit. That's not what I was looking for. Rapid Shot is really bad in the mirror. In a tournament, that would probably be the first card to look to sideboard out, because it just is not what you want to be doing in a mirror. All the units are so small and trade equally, so you're better off just trading them than spending a card to rescue an interchangeable unit, basically. Oh, come on, like, jeez. Still think it is better for us to raise 3 against 1, even with the life total difference, simply because we have so many cards that we can draw that deal less damage to the opponent that we can use to trade with drone, and also more profitably. And as you can see, he realized and stopped attacking. So now we can drop the knife jack, and I think even attack here and rapid shot, since preserving our 3/1 when the opponent is basically out of cards is a pretty decent deal, and he might be holding like a rally or a rapid shot or a power, which is what I expect him to have in hand there. I mean, at worst he could have had a torch, which would have been pretty bad for us, but not much we can do. Okay, that's kind of our death. Just gonna attack here. He's not gonna block, and then we basically have to like... Oh, that was bad. I should have attacked with this guy to deal 1 more damage and trade with this. I messed that one up. But yeah, now, because then I would go to 2 rather than 1, which is a lot better, and also would have had a stronger attacker. This is an awkward trade, but a necessary one. But yeah, it would be about time for us to draw our own Pyro Knights. That's another reason why it would be better to be on 2. So we're gonna lose this pretty closely, because we... yeah, that gets us. Because we flooded a bit too early, like he has the same amount of power as we do, but he drew his units and business stuff first, and then the power afterwards. So that allowed him to gain the momentum and gain ahead on us on health, and that eventually snowballed into a win for him by drawing that Pyro Knight off the top in a flood, while we didn't find one. Because that is like probably the single most dominating card in this matchup in a situation like that. Because there's no good answers to it, and it's hard to block, it's hard to raise, just really annoying. I was pretty happy to be able to torch the first one, and pretty devastating that he draws the second one off the top, especially with a Warcry on it. Alright, last opponent for this video. Running surprisingly bad, but that happens. That's the other thing, like, this deck can have quite some variance, so don't be scared away by losing a couple games. If you actually, which is why it's even more important with decks like this to track your performance, since the impression sometimes might be that this deck is performing way worse and is overall way worse than it actually is, because you have these games where it just feels kind of awful and your draws just don't line up. But then if you look at your stats and see the actual stats, you realize that it is more of a feel bad than an actual being bad, and it doesn't happen as often, and also most of the time if it doesn't happen, you just win the game. So that's pretty good. I'll take that, and yeah, my stats clearly show me with a pretty solid sample size how great this deck basically is. So the question here is, do I want to kill this guy? I think the fact that we don't have an answer to Titan makes me kind of want to kill it right here. And then play our life check and attack. Because delaying Titan by a train definitely helps us here. And getting a 2-2 in play instead of a 3-3 is not that big of a difference right now, if we also set him back. Also, I have been running pretty well with the deck yesterday to climb that fast. I've barely lost games, so it is reasonable that eventually some normalization of the win rate sets in and you lose a couple games. Bit unfortunate if that happens in the video, of all places, but that's what reality is. It just happens, and I don't like doctoring videos and just show you like 6 games where I crush people. I just want to show you 6 straight up honest games against random opponents in the ladder and play them to the best of my ability and independent of how the result might end up, because in the end in games like these, results don't matter as much. What matters is to play every game as well as you can and do everything in your power with the draw that you have and your opponent has to win the game. If you lose in the end, doesn't matter. If you played correctly and did everything right, that's fine. Then it's just the variance, that the natural variance that games like these have, and you gotta live with it. Like, if you play games like this, you have to be aware that you can only control the outcome of games so much. Alright, I think, given that we have the 6 power, I don't want to attack with Pyronite here, so I'll probably just kind of... Or maybe do I? I think I actually kind of want to, because of the overwhelm and the rally. It's just a good moment to rally when the opponent is at 11. It's probably too ambitious to hold this back. And yeah, he is kind of inclined to block this anyway, because it's more damage and the biggest unit and a good trade for his Dawnwalker. So, I think there's not much point in rallying here. So I just don't. The opponent is still gonna go to 7 and lost a lot of his board, and we have a Pyronite against a potential Titan next turn or something else big. But yeah, what I was still saying is what I want to show you guys and teach you guys is to make the best possible decisions under every circumstance, rather than show you how to crush and win. Like, that's the easy part. The hard part is making the right decisions, especially when things are not going your way, and try to win a game that a lot of people would otherwise lose. So there's actually, in a lot of cases, a lot more to be learned from watching me lose close games with bad draws that I played pretty well and tried really hard to still win, than just see me pilot a nut draw that just crushes any deck and any draw, because you could do that, like anybody could do that easily. That doesn't require much skill and understanding of the game. But yeah, this game slipped away from us as well, with flooding out with 25 power. I mean, drawing 7 power by turn 7 with a 25 power deck is running really bad. Same as last game, but yeah. What can you do? Tried pretty hard to win this one and got pretty close, but seems like it might not happen. But this is actually a pretty good step in the right direction. Maybe we can cheese this one out. Although it's not likely. Yep. At least he can't kill us next turn, most likely. So we have another turn to maybe make something happen. Unless he has like an obelisk, then we just die. We'll see. But yeah, a 4/4 Jito off the top is pretty sweet. Power of Warcry. But yeah, this is not looking good. Jeez, that guy is running silence, really. I guess we just pass, since we are not dead on the board. Now we are dead. Pretty damn dead. That is why you don't play your units before combat, because otherwise you would have gotten back a Dawnwalker. But yeah, we'll die in style. Getting our throat cut by our own knife check. Alright. That was the worst 3 games with Jito that I had in quite some time, but I hope you still learned something from it and I could still show you how to like navigate flood and bad situations with Jito, because that is extremely critical to get a good win rate with a deck like this. If you just win your good draw games and your not draw games and crush your opponent and lose all the other games, then the deck performs about as bad as it might subjectively feel to you in that situation, because you're just not playing it right and getting the most out of its potential. Alright, see you in a moment with 3 more games that hopefully go a bit more our way than these 3. Stay tuned.